Hey Christian,
Good morning. How
how's it
are you?
going? Mhm.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
I've
me
been
too.
for a few hours already with my son.
Mm. Have a
He's
wonderful background.
awesome. Yeah, thanks. What's
What's
new,
new on your
Max?
side?
That's funny. It's the same question.
Should I start?
Yeah. Let's see. What's new for me? Um, well, I don't know if I shared that with this group. I may have already, but my mom passed away about a month ago now, and that's kind of why I haven't been as present recently in our chats and things. It's been kind of rearranging a little bit some of my priorities and my what feels important to me given you know the absolute closeness of life and death and sitting with my mom as she passed away and
Mm.
just recognizing what we all know but what we may not realize deeply in ourselves is that you don't take anything with you when you go. You everything you've worked for your entire life, all your things, your status, your knowledge, none of that stuff goes with you. So it's made me, just reflect on what is a life well lived and how do I want to be recently. And I've got two little kids, and that's a big part of the answer. Hanging out with them more, being more present with them, um, playing. Yeah, I also got some put a little work in on getting my music station set up a little bit more so I can uh, play a little bit more music and yeah, it's still an ongoing question in my mind, but that's been present for with me over the past month.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
Hey guys, hey Gregory, hey Brendan. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
I can't hear you, Gregory.
I
You
I
can't hear
heard him
me?
when he just said that.
No.
I I can hear you, Gregory. That's weird.
I can hear you, Christian, and I can hear
And now
Max.
I can hear you now as well. Maybe it's my connection. Sorry, lately it was lagging.
Yeah.
No worries. Hey, Christian, will you check your DMs signal
Sure. In
or Slack, but signal? Um, cool. Us and I see a Brandon and a Christian and a Max and some note takers. I'm only going to be able to be here for 30 minutes again. I got to this period is just always super complicated for me for some reason recently.
You can put a
Um,
suggestion to reschedule. We could try to find a new time just in case.
yeah, I mean, I kind of want to push the stuff that keeps getting put here away too. I don't necessarily want to make everybody else reschedule. But anyway, yeah, that might have to happen. I'm not sure.
Hey
Um,
Brendan,
Yeah, GM.
how how are you?
I'm cool, man. Thank you.
Should we collect the agenda for today?
sounds good.
On mine, like the notes, there are like two questions. One is like Brendan was asking me something in the Telegram group about the methodology. I thought maybe it would be easier to discuss via voice. And Gregory also suggested to change a bit our policies regarding the publication of notes. And that's another discussion we might have. Anything else on the radar?
A bunch of other things feel like they're just deprior like important but non-urgent. Um, so, we could pick up and talk about proof of authority, migration, advancing the sort of tokenomics decisions that we've made in the past, but are sort of feel a little stalled at the moment. I don't know where things are at, but those are items. They don't feel like they're just, at least in my world, there's just a lot of stuff that feels really urgent, but those might be good things to just resurface and talk through.
Okay, where should we start?
I would suggest we start with the um, sort of publication notes publication conversation.
Okay. So would you open it, please?
Um, yeah, just my thought for a couple of reasons is that actually we should, and this has been coming up a lot as we've been working on kind of, and I've been posting stuff in the forum a little bit about knowledge commons and the sort of like different operating systems and COI and you know also Regen commons, and there's like a set of, for me, work that's converging on an approach that has a little bit more of a member focused um, knowledge sharing approach where you kind of gate who gets access to 100% of the information and then you filter it out in concentric rings and kind of create membranes so that the public is getting information that the public needs, but closer working partners, community members, um, are getting higher levels of transparency and efficiency that you can kind of gate so that agents and humans get like high transparency and then yeah and the public is sort of like getting what they need to know, and so that you have an incentive to sort of like become related and become part of a contributor. Because in some ways, you know, there's no incentive to contribute. You could when you just get everything for free, basically. Um, so that's just narrating what's been on my mind and how I've been thinking about things and applying certain design logic. And then the other day, I was just reading through the notes and I was just noticing, there was the T-Rex or Texteris's um, Telegram hack and other stuff, and it just felt like there was a level of um, potential sort of like privacy security risk also, in addition to the way that I've been thinking about maybe nesting concentric rings so that there's like an opt-in, and part of what you opt into is like, oh cool, you get all the notes of these calls and these other things, and like you get all of these pieces, because I also think it's possible to potentially build a little business model around that, like people might subscribe. Like I've been thinking, how could we bolster the value proposition of region compute, for instance, and like have a shared go-to-market campaign. So in my mind, there's a really strong case to be made for a $10 or $20 a month you get the MCPs, you get a bundle of skills, you get your compute offset, and you get access to the token economics call notes in full fidelity. And there's just like a set of things that you just have full access to the knowledge graph of. And then that's sort of gated. And then there's just sort of like a more generic report that goes out to the public that says anything that's pertinent, basically, but it's sort of stripped of details. Like he said, she said, specifics, etc. So anyway, that's kind of how I've been thinking about it. And I shared that thought in a lot less detail with Max, and he suggested we, bring it up on the call and just have a chat about it and see what other people are thinking.
I could start maybe with some points.
Hmm.
Um, well, technically, I guess like currently we do summaries, out of the notes. So we usually don't put the whole notes, but we put the video on YouTube. And on the YouTube, there is also you can extract a whole transcript made by YouTube. But on the page, there's only a summary of questions, and maybe put in the like private data in the summary could be set as a restriction for the future. So like it will automatically filter out this information or anonymize, even pseudonymize something. So that's a potential technical answer to that. But towards the idea of membership, I just looked like there were like maybe like a bit more than 100 users through the last months on the website, and it's filtered out from bots, so not counted. But from the activity people get, like we get time to time people signing up for the group, but it's not a huge amount of people. Um, and I would also think about what would be the distinguishing line between what is membership owned data and what is like public data. How could we set up a rule for that?
Yeah. Well, obviously, we need a certain amount of transparency, sort of like market transparency around specific decisions that are being made or like policies that are being implemented or being discussed. So, um, we could create a filter that's sort of like, here's what's been discussed and what's happening. I think it's okay. I think it's okay that people could theoretically like scrape YouTube and get the information. Um, but then I think maybe the public summary, we just keep a little bit more sort of like focused on sort of like need to know stuff. And then we develop a more sort of sophisticated, summary and information sharing system um, to link to Koi and the MCP and like our own internal agentic stuff. So if people bring up ideas or want to share like cool design thoughts or want to ideate on things and be creative together, we can kind of like capture that, but not have it be leaking unless people are opting in to sort of be jamming on stuff. So, if somebody wanted to talk about a cool liquidity strategy that is sort of adjacent to regen token economics, maybe that's something that we don't want getting shared publicly unless somebody's like, it's not that it's necessarily like super private. It's just that sort of like increasing the efficiency of knowledge and design thinking sharing amidst the cohort of contributors and just like increasing the friction if people aren't really part of that, just making it a little harder to like get that information and making that transparent and clear that that's what's happening too. So that there's like an invitation, like, hey, if you want to like, this is a reason to be involved, is to get access to like higher fidelity um, cooperation, coordination substrate, right? Like I could think like Max, like the pipeline, like if you were going to share in details about the, iNaturalist API hash, you know, EAS anchoring system or something like that. That might be something that you feel comfortable sharing with people who are like contributors, but maybe you want to like keep that a little bit closer, for from the public for some reason, etc. Those might be ideas that are like exciting to share with people who you're coordinating with, and like there's sort of like the what my brain is failing here. The sum is greater than the parts. The
Yeah,
uh
yeah, I got you.
um
Emergent
you synergy,
behavior.
like just holding
Mhm.
it for synergistic cooperation, not just like publishing it, basically. So that might, I don't know that that's an example, but it might be an example.
Okay.
And again, this is coming from my increasing understanding that sense making and, like as the as AI increasingly just like generates insane amounts of questionably coherent content and code and other things, what becomes scarce is trust and um, coherence and like the signal through the noise. And to the degree to which we're all trying to do something really hard, which is build, regen network and a regenerative movement, and we've been doing it together for years, and so we've started to develop trust relationships. I'm just cognizant that that's actually really precious in today's day and age, and it might be something that we want to start um, kind of building a membrane around, and then inviting and having a pathway to invite other people in, because that itself is precious, basically. Irregardless of all the other things happening, and if we achieve ecological um, credits and liquidity, all those are hard things, but the fact that we continue to try to do them and we learn as we try to do them and we iterate has its own value that's pretty deep, I think. And so I guess that's where my instinct is coming from, is wanting to, in a moment of uncertainty, kind of like start to program a way of valuing that as, to advantage and protect the hard work that everybody's doing, kind of irregardless of the specific success of an initiative, because we learn, right? And then we might improve the process next time.
Guys, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah,
Um,
I
Go
understand
ahead.
it. I don't have much thoughts. I understand it though.
Okay. Should we move on then to the next question? Uh, yeah, maybe quickly, Brandon, could you maybe ask me what you were asking in the chat, if it's not hard
Yeah.
for you? Hmm?
Yeah, what's the um what chain is it operating on?
Cello.
And and where can we see the documentation of the biodiversity? And what's the incentive for Cello? Is there like an incentive for you there? Because we like even if you wanted to tokenize that work, there's demand and there's liquidity for consuming those credits, those tokens for that work on base. Like the whole refi community is on base at the moment that I know of. That is like mainly what I was getting at. But I think it looks really cool. Like I could see you like did proofs. So like there's like digital proofs there, but I don't see like physical proofs. So that's what I'm asking about with biodiversity.
I can,
documentation.
yeah, I can share the document itself, but also mention that here. Um, I'll put in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
Well, that's what I prepared for Gregory. I don't know if you saw it, but it describes how the methodology works. Basically, there is this website, iNaturalist. I just saw today that there is like more than 2 million observations there. So it's like regular people or like any eco workers. They take pictures with the geotag and thus they mark the biodiversity of a specific region. So it helps, like it's like a part of a stewardship to track those species. So it's in a way a very limited and simple methodology, but on the other hand, it can be easily adopted across the whole world because there's like so many users of this iNaturalist. And currently there is like they have an API which like you have like a bounding box of a region where like the operation goes, and then how many um, observations are done there. Also, they can be not just regular observations, but verified. So somebody else looked at this photo and said, like, well, you have incorrectly marked a species, but this is the species, but this is confirmed. So, like, it's the whole Web2 way of tracking, but we do an extra incentive on board. Um, with the way to like capture the number of those observations and issue credits to like how many observations you have.
All I see is like text here. Like I get it, but there's no like visual like explanation of like what you described. What work is actually forming this credit? Like you can't physically see it. That's my problem.
You can this like photo for every observation.
It's
So
a
it's like,
data
yeah.
credit, not a work credit.
I s- Still feel like for people to understand and want to buy this, there still needs to be some physical showing of like somebody
You mean
taking.
like a little diagram that sh says, yeah, that makes sense. You're sort of giving advice on kind of like the marketing side of like having a diagram that shows like a person taking a picture and like posting it and then being happy when they get a little like, when they issue a credit and somebody buys it or something like that.
Yeah, I just think it's the only way for people to digest this stuff. I mean, I don't people are talking about how quickly you can get information into people's minds and like that's one of
Yeah,
those things.
to be honest, we could even like show, we could have for every credit, we could have a unique photo which was originally captured. So you might even like buy and you would see like a photo of a specific bug or a plant or something that was tracked. And the credits are really cheap. Like $2 is just an example. They might go with cents or whatever, but it's really easy to buy, with the smallest budget you have.
I think the way that I'm seeing this, Max, is if we could wire this up and have this working such that an organization that has incentive to gather data in a local region
Yeah,
could themselves basically set or almost like a bounty system, because that's kind of
yeah,
what you're describing. And so like a local watershed forum or maybe a school district wants to get all the kids out taking pictures. Maybe, maybe a property owner is like, oh, cool. I want to, every year I have this big data collection. And so I put up $100 or whatever.
yeah,
And so making it so that there's like a modular deployment kit so that people can use iNaturalist, which, like you're saying, is really widely adopted. Everybody has, so it should be super easy, and that they can just like go and take a bunch of pictures and then upload it, and then there's sort of like a processing pipeline, and then they get dispersed some cash, basically, which is a
Yeah.
little bit different, I think, than thinking of it as like a credit necessarily. I think it's more like a, you know, data bounty kind of thing or something. I think people would parse it that way because they're like, um, because when people, and we've been coming up against this a lot, like people hear the word credit and they think carbon credits or they think bank credits or whatever.
Mm.
Um, and this is a little bit more the use of the word credit, more like getting credit on an assignment or or something like that, where it's like, cool, yeah, I can just, it's like labor basically. It's like paying for data collection labor, essentially. Which I think is really cool. I mean, I do think it's a really fun, interesting app idea. And like I said, in the chat, I've actually met and know Scott, the founder of iNaturalist, and we have some mutual friends. And I could totally, like, I think they would be supported to support something like this. I think for them, also think they would be excited to see iNaturalist working in and having citizen science backing official credit systems. But I think probably in this case, I think this is like a data collection and payment module, sort of, that maybe you could plug into a bigger crediting system. Like, say there is like a biodiversity credit and it's has a threshold, and it's like, in order for this credit to go, it needs this number of citizen participation stuff, and so you could like modularly plug it into something. But my instinct from a business development perspective and a UX perspective is to sort of, and I think the story is much cleaner, is to just have it be sort of like a payment for data collection. Kind of like Gainforest was experimenting with. Like they had their payment for data collection protocol in the early days that I think might still live on Cello or something. I don't think they much got very much adoption on it, but there's prior art there that's worth learning from also. I think
Sure,
they built
thanks.
their own data collection app, which was probably a mistake. I think using iNaturalist is a really good idea.
Thanks, and I appreciate you mentioned that you know this guy. I maybe write something about this experiment, and maybe it would be easier to share with them because there's some like caution, I guess. You can compare to incentivizing writings on Wikipedia. You don't want to do, because it changes the motivation of actors who should be altruistic in a way. But in our case, there's probably we won't give money to the individuals collecting the data, but to their collective. So they would use it as a collective force. So that is also one of the ideas.
Yeah, well, I do think, and in a way that might be solved by thinking of the target audience. If you're doing this as a business development strategy, thinking of the target audience of not necessarily like iNaturalist, sure, but like I could see this being fun for a high school to do a
Yeah, yeah, I know this
fundraiser.
idea. Yeah,
Right?
right,
Or
right.
to do, or like a local, almost like Girl Scouts, like fundraiser sort of thing, where people getting kids out or getting citizens out to do stuff, and there's like a little extra fun. The winner gets a prize. It's sort of like keeping track of contribution, and that, yes, that could be used to pay people, but more like this is a cool way to get people out and collecting things, and so anyway, I unfortunately I gotta hop. It's at the 30-minute mark, but thanks for presenting this, Max. And I think it's a really cool, I think just iterating on this idea is really it's super fun. It's super interesting. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. And I'm happy
Thanks,
to,
Gregory.
over the next couple weeks, sort of brainstorm with you about like writing up an experiment and a vision and like sending that to Scott and the iNaturalist team. I don't know, they're busy and what have you, but I think it could be interesting, and I think that they would have a look at it and, maybe have some thoughts. Or maybe they'd have an idea of like a grant program or something. I don't know. I have no idea, but
Yeah, it'd be just great to hear from them. They are legends in a way.
yeah, I was so fan when I first met him. I was like, "Oh my God." All right. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, just to follow up, the implications seem more legal and insurance related for this. But I also agree that the schooling or like, just the light stuff that Gregory was talking about is also applicable. I see this as like more of a defensible or offensive strategy for forcing nature into current economic regime. This is something that people can pick up really quickly because, as I've spoken of before, we used to, or there was a bounty program called Proof of Environment that would take pictures of any environmental observation or work at any measure and record it into a monthly forum that the community could vote on and earn rewards. So that's definitely something that will be in existence at some point in some form, whether it's this form or another. There's a lot of variations, but yeah, I was just talking about that um, when I wrote to you, and then the other thing I was thinking was second. Yeah, why cello? I still don't understand why cello.
Well, it started as an experiment. So overall, I was looking if we could run the same services as we have in Regen on the like some EVM based chain. So I've taken like initial repo and just tried to move it to EVM. And I had like Celo and Base as two options. For the experiment, I chose Celo mainly because between those, it was like more ecologically focused. So I guess like I would have access, like it's still EVM, so anybody like easy to use, but it would be like maybe accessing more information from the network.
You would get more.
It's not hard to move to base if you would ask, or make it like even cross chain just in case.
Yeah, okay, that's great to hear. Yeah, because if it's on base in any capacity, that's like you actually built something, Max. Like you actually
Mhm.
built something for yeah. So I mean that would get us motion on base. What this
Mm.
is like um yeah, it's significant for bringing something to base. I don't know. It just seems marketable. I don't know anything about what's going on with Cello, but there's no like there's an AI meta taking over on base. Like all the momentum is there. All of Refi is there. You have Azos, you have Klima, you have Regen, you have a bunch of smaller guys like Tree Gens and Meme for Trees. Me, I'm over there with liquidity, and so these if these were to get issued as tokens or credits, whatever's easy, they're it'd be easy to plug them in. I know I was talking about James Jimbo, um, who created a coin launcher, and essentially it's meant to be unruggable. So it's simple. You put up some money and it burns liquidity paired to a specific asset that is going to burn the demand side asset that you want or the supply side asset. And you just let arbitrage and AMMs do their thing. And it's easy to promote. On X, if you have the bandwidth, I mean, manually doing it sucks, but if you're able to do it automatically, that's an option too. And the other thing with these projects that are using this methodology, for example, um, to me, I think a physical representation of the work needs to happen. It's the only way it's going to actually scale for any of these credits is if you can show physical representations of the work, like relentlessly, and you're able to market that via YouTube for free 6 times a day, every day, for however long you want, just by using some AI tools. So that's an insight I think is worth knowing.
Thanks. Christian, I saw you disconnected. Any input or ideas from you?
I mean, I just got an email recently, actually just this morning or yesterday, from Guardians of Earth, which is another project that is kind of similar to iNaturalist, but they also have these little quests that they put out there. And it's just like Gregory said, a school can do it. You know, a school can create a quest, and then there's all these points that they can get for whoever submits information. And Guardians Earth is connected to Regen. I mean, not technically connected, but socially connected with our project and in close contact. I wonder if there's a way to explore integration with what it is that you're talking about. Because they've got a cool, I mean, I haven't played around with it too much, but they already have a pretty cool graphical user interface that people can engage with when they go out into their natural areas and take photos and collect data related to something. I think it is a neat idea. I mean, even for something like the Jaguar biocultural credits that we have on Regen, that someone could put a bounty up of, just like, let's say I'm an owner of a bunch of Jaguar credits, I've retired a bunch of them, and I'm just interested in, I'd love to see a little bit more data about what biodiversity is happening in that zone. And I put up, whatever amount, $50, $100 or whatever, into a little bounty pool. And whoever happens to be in that area could start collecting some of that data in the way that you're talking about, Max. iNaturalist or Guardians of Earth style biodiversity data capture. And it would give me, as someone who's interested in the project, some rich updates about what's happening there. I guess the other side of my question, or my thoughts, and this kind of relates to what you were talking about at the beginning, Gregory, as well, is just is this the thing that we should be working on when it seems to me that we're kind of stalled in terms of user adoption and growth of our community, and from my observations, it seems like it's the same kind of like 12 of us that are talking, and how do we, what's the right thing to be doing right now that's going to grow that from 12 to 120 people leaning in, and then building more. I don't know what the answer to that is. It's just a question to put out there.
We have around 100 of great people who signed up for the group, but mostly people join like one time or two times, and there is no retention. So I guess we could look for new people, and we're always like out there for new members. But we also maybe are not taking some value for current members, but some members have mentioned that they read their note takers, so they catch up on the note takers, but it's probably not many So
Right.
I also wouldn't imagine like 100 people on the same call. It would probably, it's already naturally creating like some subgroups on specific projects or specific ideas, so it's kind of branching all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and I didn't even mean the tokenomics group. I just mean like leaning into Regen network in general, you know?
Mm.
People who are excited about the token, people who are excited about the credits, people who are excited about the various projects, and there could be a number of different forums and things where different things are happening. But at the moment, it seems that we're like, we're not capturing attention at all or very little. Um, yeah, I guess part of me just wants to zoom out again and be like, where are we at in our cycles here, and what is the kind of one thing we should be doing? And I don't know what the answer to that is.
I think we need a meme for trees.
Even for trees.
Yeah, we just need to keep posting memes for trees and then link to the credits and how to buy them. And that'll hook the normies. A good laugh and a responsible um, cause and clear actions. Just a meme for trees, meme for
I mean, do you
monkeys,
think?
meme for jaguars.
I mean, I'm definitely not in the world of someone who sees a meme and clicks and then follows it. But I feel like I literally don't know a single person who has seen a meme on while they're flicking through some social media site and then stopped on it, clicked on it, looked into it, and then bought something from it. Like it
More common than you
there's
think.
just so many stupid memes out there that you're just flicking, 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 and the tree comes up. I mean, okay, flick. Maybe you get a chuckle if it's good. But I don't know if that's really a way to grow community or and I'm honestly saying I don't know because I don't really do a lot of scrolling.
Yeah, the I've seen it work for a couple of years with Jimbo. That's why I bring it up. I mean, it's literally how he built his platform and has grown to 20,000 plus followers and continues to grow and continues to have engagement. He's focused all of his output into X. So if
Hmm.
I mean, I noticed your account is a little bit more like vision oriented, and that's uh that's pretty cool. But other people they want to sink in with just like something that makes them feel like some dopamine that they're familiar with, and people love familiarity, and that's just the world we live in, man. I mean, there's a lot of scrollers, and a lot of people like it, and that's like the
Hmm.
only thing that's working. You have Tree Gens who does the same thing. They post every day and they do spaces. They're in the face of the community all day long. Every day they
Hmm.
do um, an X spaces and has like 100 plus people in, and they shill their own project and they talk about others. I'm sure Regen gets brought up a fair amount,
Hmm.
and same thing with Jimbo. They're just on X only. Like they're not. I don't. They have telegrams too, I imagine, but they're just in the social sphere making noise. A lot of it, and
Hmm.
it's not even as substantive as perhaps um, this stewardship methodology, um, which I don't even think you have to pay like an accredited um, a credit project to do this part of the methodology. Like this is like fundamental. If you're not taking pictures in your documentation to like store and then put into an auto scheduler for YouTube, like I don't even take you seriously in a digital professional sense. Like but that's not public information yet. I mean, I just recently learned it, so I shouldn't even say it like that. It's very simple to just plug in YouTube and take a bunch of pictures and feed it into a repo to schedule all of it with some sound of your choice.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's worth an 8 hour session if it even takes that long for someone in a team like that who has a digital product that they're trying to sell something that's physically very niche and unique.
Yeah.
It could be simpler
I guess
than
everything you said, I don't doubt that that's true, but I just still don't see the conversion into quality. Like, do those people end up doing things that end up supporting projects and buying credits? Or are they just scrolling and pushing the like button? You know, getting
so
followers
the
is one thing, but actually, converting into something beneficial is something different. And I guess maybe there's a correlation between those two things.
there is.
Everyone seems to say there is, but
Well, the proof in that is that every like does generate revenue for the accounts that are doing the shilling. So Regen and Meme for Trees, every time they get a like, they make money. They put that money into trees, and they make that
mm,
very publicly known. And so and part of it is also um, their subscribers to Regen Compute. So like Jimmy's promoted that every time he gets an email, he shares it with with his community while he's doing his relentless marketing. So
mhm,
every like goes to trees for these two particular characters. And if you
mhm,
have an official account or whoever has an official account, if you're able to set it up to automated post things that are familiar and taking what's like maybe just dopamine and trying to merge it with regeneration, that effort isn't unnoticed. You know, you make maybe $10, maybe $1 a month, but made a lot of people happy on the way, and it's the closest that people can feel to doing something environmental until their community is more aware of this stewardship methodology that is forming.
mm,
It's just a slow build.
mhm.
Unless you're talking to someone with like serious disposable income, I don't know how like much quality you can actually get from the general public, but unless you're just specifically going at a company and then providing them immediate value and then asking them to do X in return, and that being retire credits. I mean, I don't know anyone who has that kind of time. You know, there has to be like it's a weird margin. It's a weird close. It's hard to close. I mean, one of the things I'm working on is trying to make the retirement and receipts more aesthetic, more helpful. Because right now um, they're not the most digestible thing in the world to ordinary people. And and you know, it's still crazy today. If you want a receipt, you have to manually request it on the end. But today in our world in crypto, the receipt is embedded in the transaction. And that's the superpower of blockchain. But I don't see anyone selling it in that way because no ordinary people don't know that a receipt is not embedded in the digital transaction. If you buy something at a store, the receipt does not happen in that transaction. You have to separately request the receipt. That's like fundamentally broken UX. And we should, like, this industry should be way more advanced in terms of accounting, but somehow it isn't. It's weird to me. Sorry, I ran in for a while. But I think mean for trees is the antidote.
My answer to Christian question would be probably like around how I see we going. Like I see that it's mostly about the community, as you say, well, like this whole movement of regenerative finance and economy. And basically, there are like two ways, cultural and institutional. So I guess what we're trying to do within corporate sector is to make this all like a new culture driven either by their customers or by convenience or something like that. Or we could integrate into the institutional, like into the standards organizations, into the like economic decision centers and so on. So it would become more mainstream in terms of maybe that they would be tax deductible or something like that. So I see that like there's two main trends, and it's not so much only about like promoting the platform just today or the token. It's like how that whole serves, I guess, the whole integration for me.
Yeah, I agree. And Klima, the last office hours with Klima, they were saying a similar thing, like the there there's no tax deduction. I mean, there's no benefit to the buyer for like buying credits. Like unless you're an institution with it written in the writing, like there's no benefit. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like it's very difficult sell. So unless you're directly pitching the whole thing to an institution that can slowly integrate it, and closing that alone is like a very paramount task. But if you can master that recipe and like keep going, then you really got something. But for regeneration and some other remote part of the world, and like it's just a very specific buyer set. So unless you know what that specific buyer set is, it's very difficult. And so the retail approach for Meme for Trees is just to make it as passive as possible and as fun as possible, and just keep sharing. Like it doesn't even matter. Most people aren't going to read it all. You know, people are just going to scroll by it. I'm interested, how do we grab an institution? Because in my own work for getting an institution, I'm trying to provide as immediate AI value as I can. Like it, because most people don't have time to use AI. Like most of the normal people I've interacted with lately, they don't have time to interact with AI. They have no opinion on it. And even if they did, it's like leaning towards negative. Anything we should do, Max, that you'd recommend for the next call?
Um, Good point.
Um, would it be interesting? Sorry to interrupt your thought. Would it be interesting at all for base to be um, used for this? Because I feel like we can, assuming the Regen Network official channel would actually back it a little bit, like, or if even Christian is interested, that he can use his already active X pipeline to, I don't know, like I feel like we should strategize around that to improve that method, because there's power in like a lot of posting.
Yeah, regarding base, I'll look into that. I guess it's not very difficult, so I might extend this functionality. And yeah, if you see any integrations you could do with what you already producing, that's great.
Did you have any other thoughts about next week or?
Well, I'm mostly taking like I think my key thesis through the last months was that if we speak about the Regen token, there should be some system change in terms of like switching from the token as a reward to token as a governance tool. And um, also, like Gregory mentioned, this proof of authority switch, and that's not urgent again, but it's kind of like in the process of experimentation with an alternative model with the bank. And it's going not too fast, but slowly it's like moving. So like there are some potential collaborations and partnerships. So I would always love help with that if anybody is open to that.
You're asking for connections to what?
Well, if there's any interest to speak more on the Regen Bank, and how like to make it better, I would happily support those conversations.
Ah, gotcha. Um, okay. Well, regarding base, like the documentation for base is like amazingly more thorough than Cello, I'd imagine. Um, but if you need anything, I'm happy to dig in. Is this like a public repo or something or not?
This like bank is like in the private repo so far, because it was not like technically like audited yet. So it's
Sure.
like more on the gray territory. If there would be interest that I could share, materials. It's not nothing like super like a big development. It's like a
Sure.
typical development, I guess. But
Well, I don't want to complicate it.
mm,
I just know that like if if there's interest from the community, the greater community, the R&D specifically, like then there's potential to really push this and get more teams deployed with the concept. I just don't really see how it benefits Regen Network per se, given that this is none of the does the data even touch Regen Network? Like I don't know.
there is one idea like there's currently kind of gap between the Web2 data and the issuance of the credit. So recently also this WACA that we discussed before, it
Yeah,
provides like a standard for on-chain verification where you can use either region or uh, how it's called IPFS or
yeah,
Filecoin or any distributed system.
right,
So
right.
I haven't seen that as the key for my case. So it wasn't like people would it was just like a test case, not like a mm, like for everybody. But potentially we could anchor some data to some decentralized storage. Though in the same sense, I'm a bit afraid about the stability within the region network because of this potential changes with the proof of authority and so on. So it's a bit makes it a bit risky to store data there.
Interesting. So if see for me, I'm trying to think like if this credit has is submitted data that it doesn't go to Regen Network, but it would be cool if it could, and you do it from base. Like that's and provide a brand new optimal funnel experience for that would be super cool. But essentially, the development isn't looking great on Regen's side, so we aren't going to be able to do that yet, is what I'm hearing. Got
Well,
it.
it can be done. It was just not in the urgent needs of the test case. And I see that region ecosystem and assets could be used within the bank. So like from simple like accepting region to something else, like I was also seeing that basically it's like a product of region tokenomics, and then like all of us are like a committee on development. and then we would extend it with the projects who would be listed and grow it from there. That was my feeling.
Gotcha. I see. Yeah, and um, do we know anything about Cello right now and how they're doing? I mean, I know there was something called a there was a DEX there called Refi or something. I don't think I don't know if that's even a thing anymore, but I'm just curious what the incentive is for Cellos so that you can decide whether you're doing some kind of cross-chain thing or just doing base, because the ideal to me is base to regen. You already have a dope meme right there, based regen. You want to be in the based regen, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I mentioned that it's like I will look into that technically and we'll see how we can be on base.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, because they got the agent meta is taking off there. There's a few agent uh things that, like, if they prove to be worthful, like, worth, like, and not just something flash in the wind, then I don't know. I just feel like your ability with your ability to build will just like grow, because I'm using stuff um that's useful there. A lot of it isn't, but some of it is useful. Um, yeah, it's getting so much motion. It's like, how do we get if we go where the motion is building for both refi and for AI, that's base. Base has all of that. So I don't want to keep drilling it, but this is a good call.
Yeah, we're at top of our time. Christian, any final words?
No, but I appreciate your guys' time and efforts here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Take
Right.
care,
Talk to you
guys.
soon.
Bye. Bye.